My name is Fred Matera, commercial fisherman, retired now for 40 years, and executive director of Commercial Fisheries Center in Rhode Island, president of the Commercial Fisheries Research Foundation, and there's probably another half a dozen titles that I've had over the years. Everything I heard today, I agree. I've been saying the same thing for several years. We've all been fighting that same battle. Megan, I don't know where you are right now, but you were right. We do need an uprising. There is no doubt that we do. But I still support this mitigation plan. I support it because there was time frames. Essentially, what Norbert said and Grant said is exactly what I want to reiterate as well. We didn't have enough time, and the FAB didn't have enough time. This whole process stinks. It really does stink, and the amount is an insult. I agree. But if we don't take this, like Billy just said, we get zero. Now, to me, I want to fight the battle going forward. And I think in order to support and fund an uprising, you're going to need income, because all of you are going to go fishing. You're not going to be able to put money on the table. You're not going to be able to attend these meetings. You're not going to be able to fight the fight. A handful of you will continue to do this. So we need to be able to get the right science, the right economists. We need to get the right people, the right representatives, so that we can create an uprising and be effective and be impactful. If not, it's all going to happen, and the process is going to continue as it has. It's been flawed. We have nobody on our side. The BOEM isn't on your side. Talk about a flawed process. NOAA isn't on your side. NIMS is not on your side. The state of Rhode Island hasn't been on your side. It's you. It's the industry versus the wind farms. So there is no, alternative. Personally, my appeal to you as the council is that 16.7 million, you should make it 116.7 million. You have the authority to make that change. And you should. You heard. He's right. Norbert is right. This is a family. I've fished. I know 90% or more of these people in this. I've fished side by side with them. I've trained them, safety training, hopefully protecting them and saving their lives. We've all worked together. And, it just saddens me and kills me to think that we have fractured this industry because of this. So, I believe it's important that we get this funding, utilize this funding. It's for fishermen and by fishermen. We need to do that next step in that next process of the trust and make certain we get the right cross-section of individuals on that can make the right decisions. But I really appeal to you to think about increasing that. If we don't do this and you deny this, then what happens is this go to an appeal process. And that appeal process will go to NOAA. And when it goes to NOAA, believe me, Vineyard Wind is already having that conversation. They have that conversation with NOAA every single day. The negotiation of getting here to the 16.7 million has been almost impossible. It's very difficult to look at that FAB and say, oh, shame on you. How could you even craft a deal like that? Because every time they try to increase it, they got to answer, well, why? Well, when you have 4 days to make a decision, you can't figure out why. So what happens is it gets ratcheted down. It gets decreased to the point where you have 16.7. Or you can go back and get the 6.2 and 23 million, and 23 million will be in the general treasury. Go ahead, good. How much of that you think you're going to get your hands on? And the 6.2, in reality, you already heard the economist says it's equivalent to 2.4, because someone said 140,000 a year. That's a joke. 3 or 4 lost nets, a little boat hits one of those turbines, you just ate the 140 up. At least with $1 million, I mean, at 140, it's going to take 6.5 years before you'll reach that $1 million. So you have something at least to start with. And that 12.5, you're right, it is insulting. You know, that's why I say it should be 112.5. But that's what you have. At least it's a nest egg. It's something that you can work with. There are a lot of things that we can do. You know, I always look at things, what can benefit this industry? And I think most of you know that that's what I've done all my life, is try to represent this industry, not self-serving. And I like the ideas that, you know, we could get better science, and we can get the right people, and maybe we can make a good impact and promote ourselves through the media and create a media campaign so that we can create this uprising and we can educate Joe Q public, because that's what it needs. They need to be better educated. Maybe we can take this and we can buy safety equipment. You know, I heard somebody say, oh, well, safety equipment. Safety equipment? We just lost the boat and 2 individuals. Wouldn't it be nice to have PLBs, personal location beacons? Maybe we could have found those 2 individuals. Wouldn't it be nice that everybody talks about, every time I steam by the turbines, the 5 turbines at Block Island, my radar goes crazy and I get all these false echoes. With that money, you could buy radars for a lot of boats. And there's these halo radars that are out there now that, you know, decrease the clutter and eliminate those spoken and second echoes or false images. You can create a community fund. I can't tell you how many fishermen and crew members struggle with health care, that don't have health care, that have families at times that don't have the money to take their kids to the emergency room or to a clinic, and have come to me as a boat owner and said, can you help me? Can you give me some money so I can take my kids? I don't have a down payment. I don't have a deductible. I don't have anything. Wouldn't it be nice to create a fund, to create an office here in the state of Rhode Island and have navigators there that help you to get affordable health care and provide that for your fishermen and for the crew members? What a big advantage that would be. So these are the things that I think could be very constructive for this industry going forward, and also to fight the battle. Thank you.
Alex, yes? Climate Action Rhode Island.
Hi, good evening. So I just want to, just speak briefly in support of this project. I want to thank the council for moderating this process of the negotiations and working to ensure that the interests of, that the Fishermen's Advisory Board and Vineyard Winds are well represented here. Offshore wind is a necessary and effective part of the society-wide shift that we need to have in order to fix this really big problem of climate change. And Vineyard Winds has done a very good job at designing their project such that it minimizes its negative effect on the marine ecosystem and therefore on the fisher people's business. So, as I said, I'm strongly in support of this project, and I'm urging you to issue the consistency certification. Thank you.
Paul Baudet.
Madam Chair, members of the council, speaking as a private citizen, I've been involved in environmental organizations 30, 40 years. I currently sit on the board of the National Wildlife Federation, but I am not speaking on their behalf. First off, I want to say that I support and I encourage you and ask you to move this forward. The amount of work that you've put into this and the amount of work that your staff has put into this is just incredible. I understand what it takes to sit there and make these decisions. It's not an easy process. The last few speakers have spoken in support of the process, and I think it makes good sense to pass it with those thoughts in mind. As a private citizen, I don't understand the politics behind everything that's going on here. But the fact that we have set up this Ocean SAM, and it is our way of saying to the industry how and what needs to be done, and what needs to be done correctly and under our purview, is critical to everyone in this room and moving forward. Had this been in Rhode Island waters, the arguments would be very different, because CRMC, as it had with the Black Island, could have said, no, you're not putting it on that spot, you're going to put it over here, because that's what we want you to do. But it was in federal waters. We weren't in on that conversation. Not many people were. But by saying to the industry that we still have some say in it, we will continue to influence the industry. We have a big, strong statement on the right whale. It was negotiated, and the Black Island process had to protect the right whale to the point that in its last days and under a deadline, they had to stop their work because a right whale came through, and then they continued it afterwards. Comments about what happened with the right whale were not accurate. The environmentalists were not bought off for $3 million. And you know the difference in what the truth is about how and what this council has done to protect the endangered species. What's critical about this project that isn't being said is if we don't mitigate our climate change problems, this industry is going to change and no one's going to be able to bring it back. We have tropical fish in Narragansett Bay. And that didn't happen because the status and the climate is steady. Climate is changing. The fishing species are moving north. The lobsters are going up into Labrador and the eastern coast of Maine. They want cold waters, and our waters are warming. We need industry-size windmills in federal waters that have winds 365 days a year. And in storms, when we need the power, those winds continue. They are not going to be blown over. We're not talking about oil rigs that have huge pieces of apparatus with tons and tons of buildings on top of them. It just doesn't make sense. You know what the systems are like. You understand the process. You know, some of you have looked at the nuts and bolts of windmills. You know what goes into them. I ask you to support this. It is good for everyone. And as the last few speakers said, the mitigation may not be right. Can you make it bigger? I don't know. I don't have those politics. I'm not sitting behind that table. Thank you. And if you can, why not? You've heard it from the people here. If you can't, then as the last speakers have said, it's up to them. It's in their hands. The money is put into their control. It is now up to them to take the ball and move with it. I ask you to pass this. Thank you very much.